There's a meeting that happens, sometimes once a year, sometimes more, where people above you sit in a room and decide who has leadership potential. You're not in that room, you have no idea what is being said, and in most cases, nobody is going to tell you what actually happened in there. But I have been in that room, not as a candidate, as the one watching the decisions getting made. And what I have seen over 30 years of sitting on either side of the table is that the people who get seen as leadership material are almost never the people who are trying the hardest to look like leaders. There are three things that room is silently deciding about you. And today I am going to tell you exactly what they are. Point number one, they are not looking for capability, they are looking for judgment. And here's the first thing most of the people get wrong. They think the question in that room is this person good at their job? It is not. Everybody at a certain level is good at their job. That is a minimum requirement. That is what got you into the room in the first place. The question they are actually asking is, does this person know when to act and when to wait? That is judgment. And judgment is not something you put on a slide or in a performance review. It is the thing they see or they don't see in how you handle a situation that nobody had a clear answer to. I watched a manager once, brilliant, fast, delivered results consistently. Every time there was a difficult situation, she had an answer in 30 seconds. Confident, clear, ready to move. And she kept getting passed over. Not because she was wrong, but because the room kept asking, does she slow down long enough to read the full situation? Or is she solving the wrong problem fast? Leadership is not about having the answer, it's about knowing which question actually matters. So, if judgment is what they are looking at, how do you actually show it? The answer to that is a bit uncomfortable. And it starts with something you are probably already doing wrong. Point number two, they're watching how you behave when things go sideways, not when things go well. Nobody in that room is impressed by your wins. Wins are expected. That is what you are paid to produce. What they are watching, and I mean actively watching, is what happens when something breaks, when deadline moves, when the stakeholder changes their mind at the very last minute, when the team is under pressure and everyone is looking at you. That is the audition, not the quarterly review. That Tuesday afternoon when everything went wrong. I had a client, a senior project manager, a decade of experience, widely respected by her team. Her leadership review came up, and I asked the executive who was evaluating her, what's the one moment that stood out? He didn't mention a single win. He said, there was a major delivery failure 6 months ago. I walked by her office at 8 in the evening. She was calm. She had her team around her. She was not panicking. She was solving. That's when I knew. He saw one moment, and that moment told him everything he needed to know about her under pressure. The question to ask yourself is not what I have delivered this quarter. It is what does my behavior look like when things are hard? Because that is what they remember. I want you to stop for a second and think about the last difficult situation you handled at work. Not the outcome. The outcome does not matter here. Think about how you showed up in it. What did the people see? Because the third thing, the one that is the most overlooked one, is about exactly that. And it is that piece most people never think about. The point number three is they are deciding if being around you makes them feel more capable or more drained. Leadership material is not just about what you do, it is about what other people feel when they are around you. This is the part nobody talks about because it sounds very soft. It sounds like something that belongs in an HR workshop. But I promise you, this is the one thing I have watched decide more careers than any single factor. When senior people think about who belongs at the next level, one of the questions they are asking, sometimes even without realizing it, is, does spending time with this person makes me feel clearer, stronger, and more capable? Or does it create noise, confusion, or anxiety? Think about the people in your organization who are seen as future leaders. Not necessarily the loudest, not necessarily the most impressive in a presentation, but the ones who, when they walk into a tense meeting, somehow the temperature in the room drops a little. The ones whose presence creates a calm rather than more chaos. That is what I call presence that serves others. And it shows up in small things. How do you listen when someone is speaking? Whether you give credit loudly and publicly, whether you take the problem seriously without making the person feel like the problem. I have spent 30 years watching careers from the inside, and the people who get seen as leaders, they are almost always the people who make the people around them feel better. Not by managing their emotions, by being grounded enough themselves that it spills over. Now, here's what I want you to understand. What I just described, judgment, how you show up under pressure, and how you make others feel, these are not three separate things. They are the same thing. At the very start of this video, I said there's a meeting where everything gets decided, and the people who get seen as leadership material are almost never the ones trying the hardest to look like leaders. Here's what I meant by that. When you lead from a place of trying to look a certain way, your judgment becomes about optics. Your response under pressure becomes about protecting your image. Your presence becomes about managing how others see you. But when you shift your focus from appearing capable to being grounded, being genuinely useful, something changes in how people experience you. The clarity in how you think, the steadiness under pressure, the way people feel more capable after spending time with you. These are not tricks. These are not strategies either. They are what happens when someone is building real leadership from the inside out. That is what gets noticed. That is what gets said in the room where your name comes up. You now know what is actually being evaluated when your name comes up in that room. Not the wins on your performance reviews, the moments that revealed your judgment, your steadiness, and what you bring to the people around you. If this gave you something real, hit the like button. It tells me this kind of conversation is worth having more of. If you want to be in the room every time I put one of these out, subscribe to this channel. Every week, couple of videos, no noise. And if you know someone who is genuinely talented and genuinely stuck, someone who is doing everything right and still feels invisible, share this with them. Sometimes one video asks the right question at the right moment. I will see you the next time. Bye for now.